This one is only like 8,900, like 10. Yeah, you're definitely not going to see that. And they're numbered, they're limited. This one here is a one of one, so it's the only one in the world.
So much. But I started to get in trouble with the school because, here I am coming selling jewelry to everybody. So then I started selling to stores. Jewelry is really how I got my start.
Like I said, we just had our 75th anniversary like a week ago. The mayor of Las Vegas proclaimed it Huntington Jewelers Day, November 13th, so that was really cool. We had a proclamation and a big party. At one time, our company had 3 stores across the valley.
When did it shift? Talk me through the process of the deal.
We don't want a jewelry store to become a museum.
Exactly.
Right.
Most people don't realize that a lot of companies, are bought no money down through leverage, and that's what Dan is really teaching.
Right.
Is leverage buyouts,
right.
which you use the assets of the company in order to finance the deal to buy the company from the current ownership, which to a lot of people probably it's hard to get your brain around the idea that you can take the assets of a company and you can go to a bank and a bank will give you the money to buy that business. And it's weird that it's such a revolutionary idea for something that's been happening for over 1,000 years.
Right.
So, but yet it's novel to most people. I think because it's not in their thinking that you can acquire something without any money down.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, a willing buyer and a willing seller deals. All you have to do is iron out the details on the paper. And it was, we even went one step further and it was no interest.
Yeah. Oh, wow. So you bought it.
I bought it. No money down.
Carrying, no money down, no interest.
No interest for the first 3 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny. I had in Epic 99, we were buying a coffee shop and we were buying it from the owner. And when we were negotiating, the owner stepped up and decided to finance the person, so they didn't need me as a partner anymore. Because I was going to put up the equity piece and then get debt for the rest. And the owner's like, "Yeah, I'll carry it."
Yeah.
I was like, 0 interest, and I looked at my partner at the time that we were just going to do it, and I said, "Look, this is awesome. Do it yourself. You don't need me."
Yeah, and we're in a space that there's not a lot of buyers. I mean, in brick and mortar retail, brick and mortar jewelry is not a lot of buyers. So there wasn't, a lot of people banging on the seller's door to take this. 10 years earlier, it might have been a different story, but we were at the right place at the right time.
How did you discover in the first place that they would be willing to sell?
Because we're in the jewelry space of Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were on the inside track.
Yeah, we had known them for a while. We knew the family, and we knew that they were coming back to Las Vegas to take ownership of They were traveling a little bit. The owners were larger family, and we knew that they didn't want to come back into Las Vegas and start grinding again and building it's been in Las Vegas a long time. It had a very credible name. Huntington's been around like 75 years. So at the time it was 68. So we found value in that. And also me as being, more of an entrepreneurial person, I wanted to keep the jobs and I wanted to keep the people working. And it always bothered me when family businesses go out of business, because that's the backbone of the United States.
The fascinating thing is that you have good, healthy businesses. Only 1 out of 5 are selling.
Right.
Because the market is so broken.
Right.
And there's not a lot of people that know how to run the businesses. It's like we stopped making business owners,
right?
Leaders. Like, I don't know where the leaders went. Like, we need more of them to step up. We
sure do. And I think we need leaders that aren't afraid of harder work.
Yeah.
Yeah, of working hard, because nothing about our industry in the jewelry brick and mortar is not easy. We have e-commerce as well, but the experience that we put for the clients when they come into our store is what really separates us. They come in and they get that connection, and the place that we built on the west side of Las Vegas, it belongs on the Strip, but we brought a Strip experience to the local community, and they appreciate that. So, yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It's been hard work though.
Yeah.
And so many people are told that you can't make it in this space, that you got to go e-commerce, you got to go digital, or you got to have a digital product. And that's great to supplement if you can make that, but the space is getting very saturated, I feel, and a lot of people just don't want to get into it.
Yeah, it's the fascinating, I was talking earlier about how, to me, so many people look at what I call like rip-off exchange, where they go in and they're trying to get something for nothing and make money, right? Mm-hmm. And somehow they're going to find the magic pill that's going to make them rich without doing any work at all. And I'm like, when I go into a market, I'm looking to add value or build value. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm going to fix and flip fourplex or some real estate or even a business, I'm looking to do better with the business or better with the real estate, actually add real value, right? So, and I think that is just missing now.
Right. Like, we see that in our space. We see a lot of I call them mom and pops, where the dad will be the jeweler and the mom will be the salesperson, and you might have the daughter selling, and they want to sell, but they haven't built their business in a way that makes it sellable. Right. When they depart, you're basically buying yourself a job, and that's the big difference. So that's what we're trying to look for, other companies that we can expand our brand and grow under a holding company that we're starting, mm-hmm. to buy these other businesses. But we're not buying jobs. We're buying cash flow. Right. And that's what Dan's program tells you, but you're buying the cash flow, and if the numbers make sense, then let's talk further. Let's move forward. Wow. Yeah.
What made you, how long have you been, when did you buy it?
We bought it we signed at the end of 2017, and we went live under new ownership January 1, 2018.
2018. So it's been 6 years.
It has, yeah.
Wow. 75-year-old company.
Yep.
So did you buy it at 68 years old?
Yep.
Wow. So now you've had a 75-year-old company. I saw this watch company that is like 1988 when it was founded. Mm-hmm. I thought, I wonder how many like 1900 or 1950 companies still have active charters that you could pick up, and your company's 200 years old. There's something nostalgic about being in business 75 years.
Yeah, you're saving a piece of history. I mean, we just had our 75th anniversary like a week ago, and wow. The mayor of Las Vegas proclaimed it Huntington Jewelers Day, November 13th. So that was really cool. We had a proclamation and a big party. But yeah, there's not a lot, around. It's been around as long as we have, as far as the name in Las Vegas. So, and things change. Everybody used to shop in downtown. Everybody had their little shops in downtown Las Vegas. And as the city has grown, everybody kind of moved out and expanded. And at one time our company had 3 stores across the valley.
So how does that, you're in a negotiation and you sit with the owner. Did they expect you to buy them out and go get a bank loan and put money down to buy the business? Or?
The expectation at first was for a different purchase price than we agreed upon finally. In my vision, it was overinflated. We did have some banking people that we're working with for the previous company that we were going to buy that fell through, that helped us with some appraising of the company. So we had banking relationships, and what you learn in the jewelry space is that banks they don't love the jewelry industry as much as they love other industries. Yeah. Our assets can be in a duffel bag and on their way to Belize in an hour. So
I know you brought what looked like a nuclear football.
Yeah.
I was like, the Pelican. I was like, where's the handcuffs attached to the briefcase? Because that looks like a briefcase somebody's going to take. Yeah. That's like better than a Louis Vuitton bag is. And it literally had all this stuff in it, which is wild. So you're in negotiation, mm-hmm. higher price, higher evaluation. You're in getting bank. When did it shift? Talk me through the process of the deal, the postmortem. We're after the deal now. You get there. He's got this higher price.
It really wasn't that complicated, because it was 2 families sitting down, at a desk, and we just talked. We didn't get a lot of attorneys involved, and mm-hmm. we didn't get the financial institutions involved. We just talked it out, went back and forth until we came to a number that we could agree upon, and then we just extrapolated over the number of years, and he wanted us to have it. He wanted my wife to have it. He knew that it was going to be safe in her hands and safe in our hands. And there was some not loyalty, but there's some pride in it. It's going to remain. You know, it's been, you know, 2 families now, 3 generations. You know, his father started it in 1950, and I think there's some pride that it's going to remain in the Las Vegas community and continue to serve. I mean, we get lots of customers that come in that tell us stories of them coming in to see Jack Huntington downtown in 1952 or whatever. Wow. With their grandmother, and they would sit there and play with a piece or something like that. And those are the kind of stories you just cherish those kinds of stories. They bring us keepsakes and mementos and boxes from way back in the 50s and 60s. So It was just 2 people sitting down having a conversation on where we could agree upon and where we could come to meet. A meeting of the minds took place, and we just wrote it up, and we shook hands, and we honored the agreement between 2 people, and we went to work. And we went to work, and we got it paid off early. We survived COVID and everything else that happened in the lockdowns because we weren't essential. And it just worked. And we still have a relationship now. In fact, Mr. Huntington still does some work for us sometimes, still pops in and does some appraising for us. And
really?
Yeah, it's still a great relationship. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is just an awesome transition story.
Yeah.
You know,
it wasn't adversarial, which is what really made it special.
Yeah, I see that so often in deals that, you know, that I'm actively involved in, is that people are adversarial, usually because they want more than they should get or want it for less than they should pay. And there's, you know, people feel like they're in some sort of war.
And what I've seen is now that I'm looking at other companies that have presented themselves, because once the word gets out in the industry that, you know, somebody's buying companies in brick and mortar, you get calls. You know, it's a small community, and what you find is it's a lot of owners want to cash out the 20 or 30 years that they put into this business in the final sale out the door, and instead of planning over the 30 years for their retirement and putting stuff away, and they try to get all of it out at the very end, and the deals end up falling apart because they want 10 times more than the actual is worth. They think the name of the company is worth X number of dollars, and then they think their jewelry is worth, you know, Y number of dollars, so that number gets inflated even more. Whereas, you know, you and I know that the products are only as good as to be able to create revenue for the company. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you'd never buy a car dealership that didn't have cars. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's so fascinating because I've seen that, and that was well put, because I do see that. Instead of exiting and selling a business, you're selling a business that someone's going to have to work at. Mm-hmm. They're not going to fund your entire retirement while they sit there and work their butt off for 10 or 15 years to pay off the business, so that maybe in 10 to 15 years, they're actually going to come out ahead. They're not going to suck it up for 10 years. Which, you know, a lot of small S&B companies, it's 2.5, 3 times multiples of income, like what's left over at the end of the year. End. And a lot of owners are like, I only get 3 years worth of income. It's like you're selling a job, basically, that somebody's going to have to pick up the hat and watch it and manage it and hire and be there if everything, just like the family didn't want to come back and grind the business to pull it up to where it needed to be. You're asking somebody to take that, and there's risk there. So not only are they maybe they don't, maybe they fail. There's no guarantee, but it is so funny. They expect to get all of the retirement paid for by somebody else. Right. That's just rip-off exchange.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I will tell you that is a large percentage of business owners that literally, they didn't save, they spent all their money, they didn't, and they're expecting, or they're just they think their business is gold, you know, worth gold. But
well, we have gold, but
yeah. No pun intended.
You know, and what they do is that's why a lot of them elect to do large going out of business sales.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when that happens, like I said earlier, it's not just a store that's closing, it's jobs that are being eliminated, and it's generations of loyalty and brand awareness and and all the stuff that comes with it it just goes away, and they discount the products down to nothing. We've all seen it. They put the big posters in the window, 80% off the entire store. Going out of business. Retirement sale, and it just doesn't. It doesn't do well for the industry either, because the perception then becomes that this stuff is really only worth 20% of what we're selling it for.
Right.
And we hold ourselves a little different, where we're not a discount store. The price is the price, and we price it appropriately, that we can continue to provide the service and the experience for our clients. It doesn't do us any favors for somebody to come in this week and buy something, and then the next week after Black Friday it's 80% off. That's just deceptive. There's no trust built there.
So let's cover some of the pieces. Let me see that one.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you can see this, but
yeah, that's a spent 38 caliber shell in there.
It's a 30. Wow. So this is an actual 38 caliber scale.
Yeah, it's called the Russian roulette.
Wow.
It spins there freely. It's a full skeleton dial.
Gorgeous.
Yep. And this is one of the things that we also like to do, is we also like to showcase smaller, unique type pieces and brands. So this is a company out of Switzerland called Artia.
What does something like that cost?
This one is only like 8,900, like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's such a unique watch.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to see that. And they're numbered, they're limited. This one here is a 1 of 1, so it's the only one in the world.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
I'll show it in the thing, so they can see it.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Okay.
Yeah. Full sapphire crystal case, so you can see through the entire thing.
Wow. Reminds me of Roger Dubious skeleton, which I wear that, and most people don't know what it is. And it's actually more expensive than my AP.
Right. That's what I like about it, and that's what.
How much is that one?
30.
Wow, and it's like almost. It's got almost like a Cinderella, kind of crystal. I saw some boots last night that were see-through that my wife was looking at, and I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
And then what's this one here?
Same company on all three of these. Artia out of Switzerland, smaller boutique brand. Those are butterfly wings.
Those are
Real
butterfly wings?
butterfly wings. It comes with a certificate. All these come with their own certificates on them. Authenticity. It's got a story behind each of them, how they came to name. And this one has a certificate that no butterflies were killed in the making of this watch.
That was the first thing I thought of. I didn't want to ask you that because it sounded like a buzzkill. I'm like,
you wouldn't be the first.
Literally buzzkill.
You wouldn't be the first.
I was like, man, I don't want to be responsible for killing butterflies.
No.
Even though whether they die every day.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wait till the end of the day and they're toast.
So very unique pieces, right?
So wow. And then we've got a Rolex over there.
Yep, I'm do pre-owned and not an authorized dealer for Rolex. They've been a lot of things been going on with the Rolex market. They bought Bouquier and Tourneau, so they have their own retail distribution now.
Really?
Yep. So
still nonprofit.
We've seen a lot of retailers, authorized dealers, they're pulling back the number. They're closing a lot of authorized dealers, the mom and pops. So we're kind of watching it closely to see what happens. But no, I still sell them. I still get them. Love to buy them. I'm one of the few that has a buyer's license in Las Vegas, so we buy as well.
So you buy Rolexes?
We buy anything. We buy everything. Yeah.
Well, wow. That is interesting about the Rolex going from selling to like their own distribution, kind of like exclusive distribution only at corporate stores or a corporate channel.
I think they're trying to become closer to the end customer.
Wow. And they're a nonprofit organization. I had no idea Rolex was nonprofit.
Yeah.
And then when I heard that, I went
like, not really sure how that part works of it. Yeah, but
isn't that wild? Yeah. Like Rolex is
heard that myself.
Nonprofit. They're funding races and their brand is strong.
And they're their own. They're not like some of the other brands who start to get into a conglomerate of different brands underneath their umbrella. Richemont Group, Swatch Group. So yeah, they stay out there on their own, doing their own thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. And yet it's been a strong brand as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
As far as there's a consistent following, people, still just does well. How much is that one?
That one I'm asking $12,750.
12,750.
Yeah.
And what type of Rolex is that?
That is a 2020 Datejust with the Oyster bracelet, the white dial, fluted bezel, and Roman numerals instead of numbers.
Wow.
So it's
very
got a
cool.
little different look to it, even though it's still a Datejust, and it's a 41. So
This one here, which is funny. This is actually my favorite.
yeah,
Can you
that's a
see this,
German
Johnny?
brand, out of Germany, called Meistersinger.
There's no second hand, which I no minute hand,
No minute
which
hand.
is so awesome.
Yeah. So the idea is live life to the moment, not to the minute.
Mm-hmm.
They go back to the origin of time telling, which is the sundial.
Wow.
And yeah, it's just very, very unique. The people who buy those watches, they come back and report that they do feel like time passes a little slower.
No kidding. So if you get older and you want time to slow down because you're like, hey, I'm dying at some point.
Because it's a perception.
Yeah. That's interesting that people feel this way. And you gave this to me, which I'm like over the moon. Such an awesome thing. You gave me 2 silver coins too. Mm-hmm. That edition is absolutely amazing. I love it. It's over on my desk, and it's in every video now. But what's the story behind this one?
That's a pen by David Oscarson, another small gentleman that we like to work with, very exclusive. It's made of the same material like a Fabergé egg.
Wow.
So it's inscribed, they're numbered, everyone has a story. They come in both fountain and roller. That one is called Take It to the Limit to commemorate racing.
Wow.
And the car enthusiast. It's got a piston for the clip.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's got the gear shift numbers on the top.
Oh, and I didn't even notice that one.
Comes in a couple different colors if you like, and it's got the carbon fiber look to it.
This kind of looks like the
very unique.
Porsche on top.
So I have that one. I have the one for the Alfred Nobel, which commemorates the inventor of dynamite and the namesake for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Wow. That's fascinating that a guy that invented dynamite got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, well, the story is I've heard is that he was so distraught over inventing something that caused so much pain in the world. It was important for him to create some peace.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what did he get the prize for? Nobel Peace Prize? Do you know?
Well, he started it for his namesake.
Oh, he started it.
Yeah, Mr. Alfred Nobel.
Oh, the actual guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
The origin.
No kidding.
The origin. Yeah.
So the guy that invented dynamite. So I wonder, nobody did anything for nuclear.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, Einstein didn't start anything. And, or they didn't start anything to that. That's wild. And then you have a diamond.
Yep. So this is a just over 8 carat pear, natural yellow, fancy.
Wow.
And everything we do is natural. We don't do anything in labs or synthetic or man-made. And in our color, like the blue sapphires here, that goes with the matching ring, those are all non-heat treated natural sapphires. So that's the color they come out of the earth. So most jewelers, manufacturers will heat their stones to achieve the color saturation that they're looking for, whereas these are all natural from the ground.
Wow. And what is something like that, like the ring and the earrings?
The ring on this one it's very affordable. It's $20,000, and these are $30,000, so $50,000 for the set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. They're all matching, and then you have diamond earrings in the back.
We have some diamond earrings as well.
Kind
some
of almost
earrings.
classic, right?
Yep. Classic hoops for $30,000.
Wow.
And another beautiful pair diamond ring there for about $110,000.
Wow.
Yeah. Now this yellow guy, $150,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So some beautiful pieces, some rare pieces, unique pieces that you won't find at other places.
Wow.
Just
gorgeous
outstanding.
pieces. Yeah. So I mean that's one of the things. So at 12 years old, my dad cut me off financially, and the first business I did was jewelry. So my mom was a jeweler, and she had her little side hustle doing jewelry. So I went and got a wholesale license and went to the jewelry exchange. Getting a resale, there was no age limit. So you could get it at any age. So here I am, a teenager, going and getting a resale certificate. And then I went to the Jewelry Center in San Francisco and the Gift Mart there, and started selling jewelry to everybody I knew. School people had the big Mercedes,
Yep.
and I mean, I sold so much, and but I started to get in trouble with the school because here I'm coming selling jewelry to everybody, and then it was something the school was struggling with. I'm like, I'm an entrepreneur,
Right. Right. Teach that.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning how to sell stuff. So then I started selling to stores, and then it migrated into a whole other business that just took on a life of its own. But jewelry is really how I got my start,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
That's
and
amazing.
I took photo pictures because I didn't have the money at the time of all the different signs, and I figured kids could afford silver. I was getting silver for 65 cents a gram. Right. And so I was looking at it. The Mercedes sign was like, I don't know, a few grams or whatever. So it wasn't that expensive to buy. It was like $3, $4, $5. And, they were selling at the store for $30, $50. It was pretty expensive. And I was selling them for $20. I was still making 4 times the amount of money. And silver seemed to be that. Gold wasn't the same as far as the markup, but the silver and people loved it, and they got the look that they wanted, and it worked. And I just kept flipping that money.
Yeah, you found your niche.
Yeah.
And keep serving your niche well.
Yeah, and then once I'd outgrown that, then I started selling to Longs and Payless and Macy's and merchandise that came from South Korea. Not North Korea, South Korea.
That's good.
So yeah, it just took off one thing after another. But I have such a love affair with jewelry in that regard because, we had tons of it all over the house. My mom had all the jewelry she ever dreamed of because we could buy it wholesale.
There's stories behind every piece too.
Yeah. What's funny is I met a lot of people when I was a kid. I don't know because I was in the business. I just met people that would do road shows. So they'd have their jewelry, no jewelry store at all, and then they would fill it up in the back of their car, and there would be a party. Lots of time ladies, and they show up and show all the jewelry and kind of have a jewelry party.
Yeah.
Which seemed to do really well because they'd sell a lot of jewelry because of just the kind of connection and people talking and what do you think of this? How does this look on? And they're all complimenting each other and stuff, and it just kind of sold itself.
Interesting.
Do you all your stuff is sold at the store? Do you do any road shows?
We don't do road shows. We do have certain clients that we know what they want, and we'll take some pieces to their office if they're busy or something like that, and we'll do something like a concierge service for them. But most everything is done in store there over in Summerlin. It's
funny. I'm just thinking of something that just doesn't come to my mind, but I grew up in it with racks and. We'd put cloths over it and carry these big costume jewelry stuff. And so we would do fairs. We would do, special events, home shows where they were selling siding and solar and everything else. And my mom would set up her jewelry. And she loved it, though. She just loved jewelry.
Yeah, you got a passion for it.
She had so much fun with it, and she would, all her girlfriends, everybody started coming to her. She passed away about 5 years ago, but actually 6 years ago now. But man, it was the passion she had for jewelry was incredible, and I grew up in it, so it's kind of fascinating. Ever thought about road shows? What would keep you from doing a road show? It's great exposure.
I don't know if our product lends itself to that. We pretty much price ourselves into what we call the upper. If you want a 7-figure piece, we have that kind of stuff.
Wow.
So we kind of brought a higher end experience to the local market over in Summerlin. So I don't know. We'd have to travel with we'd have to travel with armored trucks and security on us at all times and stuff like that.
That's funny.
And we do that sometimes. We've gone, but we just haven't gone to like a public space or a public outing or something like that. It's just not the clientele that we've kind of engaged with in the past.
Yeah, it's a totally different market. We just made so much money doing it that it brings fond memories because you walk home with thousands of dollars in your pocket after a day, and of course it feels like a day,
right?
Because you have to set up and tear down and the whole bit. It's a
work.
lot of work. But I thought of how they have Maine lobster.
Yeah,
in
in
that
their
big
trucks,
truck.
yeah.
I'm thinking, man, you could just have like a taco type truck, one of those Maine lobster trucks, and just make it bulletproof. And
now, as we grow our brand, we haven't put aside the idea of going into different, I would call different levels of jewelry, and if we do look at other retailers, as long as the numbers make sense, I'm not worried about getting into what I would call more of a fashion commercial grade of product. But this would be not at that kind of level.
No, you would have stuff that was really cool that led to this.
Yeah, the designer who makes these two pieces here, he makes 300 pieces a year.
Oh, wow.
So where other manufacturers will do 300 pieces a day, so they're really special. They have a story. They come with Providence books on the mine that it came from and how all the sketchings, like there's a book like 12, 15 pages for each piece, signed by the artist. Where the mining came from.
So on a technical level, being that you owner financed and the inventory is millions of dollars, right? How do you structure a deal where there's a bunch of assets that are worth millions of dollars? And let's say it was day one of you acquiring this business, and we're sitting here, and there's 29,000. Yep. How much is this one?
That one's around 5,000.
5,000. So
more, I would call that more of an entry level piece.
Entry level.
Yeah.
So we're sitting here with almost $500,000 worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So when we bought
$500,000 sitting here,
when we bought Huntington, there were some pieces that we wanted from the inventory, but there were also some pieces that most of the pieces we just weren't up to my wife's standard. My wife's the GIA graduate; she's the GG, the graduate gemologist. So she's got the eye. She's the creative. I'm the business.
My mom
I'm the operations.
Yeah.
So and that makes a good balance.
For
so
sure.
if she didn't like it or want it, when we just didn't put it in the deal. And we didn't want it. And because she had been in the business for so many, 20, 22 years at that time, we had relationships with the vendors that she did want to carry in the store, and they supported us with product. So they memoed us product, and we put it in the store, and as it sold, we would split the profits, and that's how we started building our accounts, and we started building our profits and putting money aside, and then that's
it's like consignment.
It's kind of consignment, but it's not with the public.
Yeah, I used to do that. So I had a framing factory, and I used to frame art, and a lot of that, I'd have a lot of it in there, in my warehouse, the manufacturer. And I thought, one day, out of the blue, when I was talking to one of the stores, and they don't have a lot of pictures up. I'm like, why don't you have a lot of pictures? They go, oh, we don't know what would sell. I'm like, I know what sells, and that could be like make money on your walls. So I brought, tens of thousands of dollars worth of artwork and filled the stores up with art, and made a killing off of selling all that stuff. And the owner was super happy, but wouldn't make the initial investment into the art in order for the art to sell. And so I would put art that matched the different, furniture sets that were there, and the different, stuff in the furniture stores, and really have captivating art with lighting on it. And we spent a lot on displays. It sold, and yet the owner was thrilled because the price of their rent didn't change, but their revenue went up because not only did you buy the couch, but you liked the picture behind it as well.
Right.
And if that picture was sitting in my manufacturer, it would never be sold. So if that watch wasn't sitting in your store on that kind of structured deal, the watch wouldn't get exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll take them out. Sometimes we wear. I mean, my wife and I are pretty big in the local community, so we'll take some pieces out and we'll wear them out. We're covered for certain things that we can go out and show. And she loves to sell pieces right off her body. She does it all the time.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because there's no better display than it on a person.
Yeah, wow. How does that work when? So if it's a new product and you've worn it just that one time, is it considered used at that point because you wore it?
We've never run into that issue. Everybody just loves the piece, and they don't worry about new, used, especially in this. And what the great thing about jewelry, as I always say, is that I can take a piece that doesn't sell. 2 years I've had it. I can take it into my shop and I can break it down into its metal and its stones, and I can reimagine it into something else, and I can put it back out.
Yeah, those diamonds could just as easily be wrapped around a stone.
Where you can't do that with, say, a Ferrari. You can't take a Ferrari that doesn't sell, not that they don't sell anyway.
Just take
and
them
put it in the
apart.
back and put pieces back together and put a Lamborghini out in the front, or a BMW and a Mercedes. Or I can't take a G-Wagon and turn it into an S-Class. Whereas these are all raw goods and raw metals, and I can break them down.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom.
They can be
my mom
recreated.
used to make rings, and I even have a yin and yang thing that I told my mom. Like I drew the actual yin and yang, and we actually made it exactly the way I drew it. So the flaws in it are from my own drawing. And I'm like, Mom, you know what a yin and yang symbol looks like?
Right.
It's like round.
Right.
So now it's got a point. And now when I wear that piece of jewelry, it's actually warm to my heart. I laid it in 24 karat gold because everything was like 14, and wanted it pure gold, white jade, black onyx, and even the flaws in it are ones I drew as a 15-year-old kid.
Oh yeah, we get stories like that all the time. I just had a client come to me and say, he wants a pair of Rolexes. I'm like, okay, great, but he wants specifics. And when I say specifics, he wants a 1999 and a 2004 Submariner. Wow. And he wants specifically those dates. Cards, mints, he wants a mint. We don't sell anything that's not, complete. And I said, well, what is it behind that? And he goes, well, he wants them for his sons. He wants his sons to have them from the year that they were born, and that's the only year they want. And that's not something you can walk into an authorized dealer and you can ask for.
Right.
So he comes to like me, and I'll be able to source that for him. Or if you want vintage, I love vintage, especially getting into Rolexes and stuff like that. I've had a request for a 1958 Pepsi. That's a 6-figure watch. With that real pink looking red on the top and the blue on the bottom.
Wow.
If it's all original, that's easily a 6-figure watch.
Wow.
So we get those kind of requests sometimes. We also do restorations. I had a gentleman that wanted to give his son on the police force. He was a 91-year-old man. He wanted to have his Submariner that he brought back from Vietnam. Yeah. And he wanted it restored, and it basically needed a total rework. Wow. And he brought it to me, and he loved the fact that it was going to stay here with me in Las Vegas, and it wasn't going to send it to Rolex, and they would maybe send it to Switzerland or Dallas or who knows where it ended up. And they couldn't guarantee when it would get back, 3 months, 6 months, a year, who knows. Wow. I had it done and turned back to him in time for Christmas a few years back. It took me like 42 days or something to totally restore a 71 Submariner.
Wow.
So stuff like that is what we enjoy. I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. And,
wow. So you guys can fix watches then?
Yeah, we have a full service center. We do watch repair. We do jewelry repair. We make custom. We do a lot of custom. Wow. My wife coined the term jewelry box makeovers. Yeah. So we have lots of clients that bring in their jewelry boxes because everybody has stuff that they've been given to their aunts, their uncles, their moms.
I've got
dads.
a few that need work.
Yeah.
Right now.
And they just don't know what to do with it. Either the style has gone out, or things are chipped, or they just don't know what to do, or does it fit, or so they bring their boxes in. They sit with her for through a consultation, and they go through it, and they're like, okay, this is your costume stuff. Yeah, you can keep it, give it to your grandkids, or you have a donation. We have a charity that can take it. Right. This is your stuff that's sentimental. This is the stuff we're going to do with, and this is your scrap. This is the stuff that we're going to melt down, and we're going to get credit for to work on this stuff. Wow. And we come back with a whole new thing. We haven't done anything with it yet, but we bought the domain and stuff for jewelryboxmakeover.com in case we wanted to go do something with it. We have a lot of other ideas around the jewelry space that we're working on.
Because there's a bunch of jewelry that I have upstairs.
Everybody's got it. You'd be shocked the stuff that I've literally seen people bring in a dolly with those big green Rubbermaid bins, the big ones, 3 of them high, 4 of them high, rolling them into the store, and it takes us a month sometimes to go through it, in the back room. But
wow, I just think it just sits there. There's chains, there's all kinds of stuff. And
we hear it all the time
from the jewelry business, and I just it sits there. I mean, it's gold, so it's not going to go down in value.
Oh, it's gone up.
Yeah, so it's not like a bad thing. We have other pictures on the wall too that just keep going up in value that we bought for like 100 or 150,000 that are just, they're one of 10. So, on one of them, there's one of 10. So there's only 10 of them. And each time they sell at auction, you see it and go, wow, this is wild.
Yeah, you never know what's motivating somebody on the other side. They want. We've remade pieces from pictures that remembered a father or a grandfather. We've financed books. People have wanted to write books. They couldn't find a publisher, so they self-published it. So they brought us jewelry and coins, and we bought it so they could publish books. And I remember a gentleman would come in every few weeks and they'd bring me a coin or some jewelry to buy, and we'd buy from him, and we'd give him the money, and he'd go out and buy more books, and because he wanted to tell his story, he wanted to tell his word, he wanted to speak his mind. So it was it's kind of a fun. We never know what's going to come through the door. Kind of like that Pawn Star. Sometimes you never know what's going to walk in the door.
Yeah. And all of them have a story.
Yeah,
like my yin and yang with my mom, and kind of like, Mom, what? And of course, I love my mom, and I was like, now I'm happy because nobody's making that. Nobody's making a messed up yin and yang sale. Yeah. Nobody makes that. It's uniquely messed up, So, and that communication between my mom and I. Speaking of value, which is interesting, how people place value on certain things. Did you see at the auction the banana that went for $6.2 million?
I did not.
Yeah. So it happened last week. This artist. And this piece is called The Comedian.
Okay.
And it's by a world famous artist. I've forgotten because but he duct taped a banana on the wall. So when you buy this piece, what you get is a 14-page instruction manual on how to tape a banana to the wall.
Oh, come on.
And a roll of duct tape.
Come on.
And the guy that started Tron, the what do you call it, cryptocurrency, and I think he's got another exchange that he owns. He bought it for $6.2 million.
My goodness.
And they asked him, why'd you buy it? And he goes, I wanted to eat the banana. So,
come on.
So and
doesn't surprise me nowadays what you can see.
Yeah, the difference though I think is that he probably bought $100 million worth of advertising. Nobody knew who this guy was. True. Now he's going to be in Wikipedia. He's got, Sotheby's has, him on the list now of ballers to buy stuff, and somebody else lost apparently, right?
That's seeing an opportunity where everybody sees something else.
Yeah. What was that's like, you never know the real motivation, like you said, behind where somebody's going with something. A banana. $6.2 million.
Unbelievable.
The auction sale price, I think, was $5.2 million, and then it was $1 million in fees, apparently.
I bet you probably could have resold it immediately for double.
Well, so funny you should say that. He actually, and this is something that made me wealthy at 17 years old, is he got the rights. So he owns the rights to reproduce it.
Oh.
So if you want a comedian original piece, they follow the 14-page instructions, put a banana and duct tape it to your wall, you too can have one if he chooses to sell you one.
Wow.
So he has the licensing rights to duct tape a banana to the wall.
Can license anything.
And call it a piece of art called Comedian.
Got to hand it to guys like that, though.
What was funny is the auctioneer that was laughing about it. It's like, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't.
Right.
But let's put it out there, so you never know.
That sounds like what was that artist, Banksy, or I always mess up how you pronounce his name.
Oh yeah, Banksy. Yeah, I think it's Banksy.
Before this turned into an electronic music scene, when it was a hip hop town, I played a lot of places on the Strip.
Wow. So
there it is.
So this is
that's it.
I designed it and drew it, and Mom took it down to the jewelry center, and see how it's the point is kind of messed up.
Right.
It's not circular.
Not quite as oval as you need it. No, as you need it.
See, there's a point there and a point there. So, but now, nobody else is.
So it's not quite the yin yang. You kind of got the yeah.
Yin, yeah.
You didn't go all the way there.
Can I use that?
Of course.
All right.
We'll trademark it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's funny that that is essentially how some products that have had incredible value have been mistakes.
Oh, for sure.
With a story. And then all of a sudden it becomes valuable because it's unique, you know, and the story behind it. Like this kind of forever bonds my mom and I and the jewelry business. You know, this.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. This
And
piece.
obviously it wasn't buried so much you found it in a matter of seconds.
No, because it's so close to my heart.
Of course
That it's like right there. Yeah, even the chain, you know, and the whole bit. Memories from childhood, you know, we definitely have.
That's what we're selling here. We're selling memories. I wish these things could talk more, you know.
Yeah, and the feeling you get. I know just certain watches I wear, just they feel so good, you know, just they make me feel good.
Yeah,
I
most
feel
of the
good.
clients that we do watches for, there's some reason they want that watch.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Breitling or a Rolex or anything, they want that connection back to somebody or something that happened in their life and there's some time, and that's what binds them together with it.
Yeah.
When every time they look at the wrist, because very few people tell time on their watch.
Wow.
You know, they pull their phone out.
How much of the jewelry business is the consignment side, where vendors are willing to do some of the financing on the backside, and what percentage of the business
It
would you
fluctuates
say?
on your relationships with the brands and with the vendors and stuff like that. But it always goes up during the holidays because the vendors know that you don't sell jewelry with your jewelry sitting in a safe in New York or in
sure.
LA.
Like my pictures.
Right. They got to get out. They got to get out in front of the public. They got to be seen. And a lot of the vendors don't sell direct to the public. So they run through the retail, the retail industry. So, and we appreciate those vendors because there's some that have gone the other direction in the last 10 years where they're selling to retailers and they're also selling on their own websites, which we don't really tend to partner with those because we don't want a competitor in our own space. So we want a partnership in growing both our businesses together.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I would say it depends on every retailer. It could be 50-50, it could be 70-30, you know, it could be 100% none, you know.
Wow. So
But if you you do a large buy-in, they're always going to send you some extras to fill out the some of these watch brands like this one here. There's like 45 SKUs in the line.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, there's 40, 45 SKUs in the line. I think I have 20 or 22.
Yeah. So SKUs
a blend,
for people
yeah,
who don't know the industry lingo.
Items, individual pieces.
Individual pieces.
Yeah,
So
individual pieces.
a tracking number.
Yeah.
SKU is how you track a product.
Yeah. Of course, and the markets are different. So, and another thing you have relationship with the vendors is to swap out.
Yeah, I did that.
You do it all the
funny.
time.
I did that with the pictures. And the other thing is, if a picture's not selling on the wall and it's occupying
Space.
3 by 4 feet,
Right.
that's space that could be making money.
Right.
Why do I want to be right? And it can be tempting. What I did find was, so I took all the pieces that didn't sell and I would go to the flea market and sell them at the cost it cost me to make them.
Right. You want the cash flow back in.
Yeah, and like your wife, I knew what would sell and what wouldn't sell.
Yep.
And the furniture store owners had no clue what was hot and popular in the moment.
Valuable data. We turn the entire store, almost all of it, every year. If it goes past 365 days, it goes into a different report on my side, and we try to figure out exit strategies.
After a year.
We want things to turn. We do have items that turn 90 days. We have items in the store that turn. We've had stuff came in. We've sold it before it even comes in. But we have. If it hits 180 days and 365 days are the two benchmarks when we start making strategies.
Yeah, every business is real different. I know in the car business, you were 30 days, you wanted to have it gone. 60 days, you're 90 days, you're like, oh my God.
Right.
And 120, you're like, oh, oof.
We don't want a jewelry store to become a museum.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's not what we're there for.
It's funny because you can, as an owner, get attached to certain products.
Yeah, and that's where having a good balance between like my wife being the creative and the jeweler and me being the operations and the growth, we can balance it out because my passion is watching the business grow, hiring more people, watching the ripple effect that we can make on the community and through the families that we interact with. She loves the jewelry,
Yeah.
which is great. It's amazing.
So-
We need that passion. We got to have that passion. Otherwise, we're spinning our wheels buying things that don't, that, you know, and the salespeople have to have passion for it too. Otherwise, they're not excited to sell it. So that's something else I think that separates us from, like you mentioned, like the automotive market. You know, the manufacturers send you all the lines of the brand. You know, sometimes you're not very excited to sell the Prius as you are to sell the TRD Pro or something like that, you know.
Cellular business was that way too. I had 45 retail stores and 106 sub-dealers that, you know, I sold through, that I wholesaled to. And when a carrier would come out with some really crappy phones, or the price point was so bad competitive, we had to charge 100 and the competitors were giving them away for free for the same looking product. The end consumer is like, looks the same.
Yeah.
You know, one's free, one's not.
Yeah.
You know, you're both $29 a month. What's the deal? And you're like, well, they charge $100. And yeah, it became you're like, it's only $100. Like, come on, we paid like $300-400 for the phone, and the carrier would pay us a commission that would cover the equipment, and then we still had to get $100 from the customer. So, you know, those were some difficult times, and they would throw that on you just out of the blue, and you had to figure out a business model not to go out of business.
Right.
You know, so I'm glad to be out of that business, having exited it, but every year the carrier would throw a new wrench in there, change commissions, change structures, it was just a constant reinventing the market, sales, and the whole bit. So.
That's why one of the reasons that we don't work with a lot of the big major brands. Like, we're not an authorized Rolex dealer. I don't know if it's something we want to approach in the future, but Cartier, you know, the big brands you know of, because they tend to run the independent store a lot. They say jump, you say, you know, how high type thing.
Yeah.
We like to have control over what we do in our store. It's our business, and we want partnerships, not do this or we're going to we're going to yank your dealership.
That seems to be a lot of the marketplace these days. Yeah. I know I had the guy that actually does merchandise for F1, and he has retail stores. Some of them are $45,000 for the retail space, and the margins, like, the products are so expensive, and every year he has to reinvent himself to sell it. They don't really treat him like a partner at all, you know, and he gets beaten up by the vendors and by F1 constantly.
Right.
And 35 years he's been doing it, but he loves racing. So it's kept him.
It's the golden handcuffs. It really is. It really is. You carry some of these brands.
Yeah. So it's fascinating, and it's funny to watch people flip, because what I had mentioned to them is they flipped to a different type of model, and now they're not making money at that, and they're losing people that are doing that model. Like Puma takes it over, and they're not making money. So then Adidas will come in, and they may not make money at it, and F1 is burning each brand. You know, and the brands are just throwing away money because of the F1 brand and the competition among brands.
Yeah.
So you've got a kind of a losing business model.
Yeah, and especially in Vegas, it's a very interesting, you know, market that we have here, because every brand has their own store.
Wow.
Right. It's one of the most saturated jewelry markets in the United States.
Really, Vegas?
Oh, yeah. I mean, walk down any casino now, you're going to see, you know, the Fashion Show Mall, I think last count had like 20 jewelry stores, not including the big box department stores that have their own jewelry departments.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super saturated. You know, you got the forum shops, you know, they have every brand right there on top of each other.
So how do you stand out and survive?
Well, that's why
kind of
we don't want to. We made a mindset that we don't want to play on that sandbox. We stay in the local community. We're fine with where we're our niche on the west side. We've looked at other locations for a second. We had 2 at one time. After COVID, we closed the one on West Sahara, and we put everything into the one on Summerlin. But we've looked at other locations. We've looked down in the Southwest, you know, around the Durango Station and the Uncommons, and you know, we've been asked many times to come out here on this side of town into the Henderson area, in Anthem. Our customers make the drive, you know, and they come to us, but it's an interesting market,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm looking at other markets too. So
Wow. Yeah, one that's. I bet you if you're in other markets, it'll feel like Disneyland compared to this market that's bloody.
it's
It'll be more like the book. Did you ever read the book Blue Ocean?
I have. I've read it twice, and I'm on the new edition now. Yeah.
Oh, they have a new edition.
Yeah, I think there's an updated edition. I think it's 3 or 4. I got to check on my Audible.
Blue. It's so funny when you have a name and an idea that is just like like Blue Ocean. It's funny. It's funny. And then I guess if you have a great idea like that, you just go down the road with that idea, and you end up with a great book.
Yeah, it's a good book. Yeah, it is.
The red ocean, blue ocean. Because if you land in blue ocean with customers that are clients that are looking to buy your product or service, and you don't have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
So you are in a red ocean in Vegas, very competitive, but you've chosen to create your own blue ocean.
Right, and by bringing it to the local community, it makes us stand out, because a lot of other jewelers have gone the other direction. Wow. What I would call the direction of like the K's and the Jareds and the Zales and stuff like that, where we went the other direction. Wow. We'd rather find a more niche market.
Yeah, I always consider.
But we still have things for every price point, though.
It's funny. There is, especially if you're that competitive, you end up in a race for the bottom.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Which is why MSRP came out. Manufactured suggested retail price, and then where they're basically barring people for selling for less or advertising for less than the actual market price, and could lose their ability to sell that product if they sell it for less money.
Yeah. And in this industry, it's just been so long to see those kind of signs. I mean, you could walk down any mall in the country, or drive past any store, you'll see signs on certain retailers, and they'll advertise, the whole store half off, and it doesn't sit well. I mean, I always make the joke with clients when they ask me that in the store. If you really need a discount, just give me a second. I'll go in the back and mark it up for 200%, and I'll give you 7% off.
Yeah.
It's just dishonest, and it doesn't create the right trust relationship that we're trying to build with clients.
Yeah, and it makes it like buying a used car.
Right.
What's the so do they have floor pricing that you can't sell below? Like, for example, that
certain ones do. Yeah, certain ones do have
price protected.
Yeah, certain ones do. Not a lot of it, but because we'll just swap it out. If it doesn't sell, we're not going to go down. We're just gonna watch it, and we'll exchange it. Maybe this piece does better in Miami. And I'll send it back to the manufacturer. They'll, small fee. They'll make sure it's, running.
It's funny when you say that. I look at the watch and go, yeah, that's a Miami watch.
Yeah.
Maybe LA might be another spot, just because I think Miami, the lighter blue, the see-through.
He makes one that I had for a while that I thought was going to sell great here. It's the shape of a guitar.
Oh, wow.
It is amazing. And I had it here for a few months on loan to me. Thought for sure a musician was going to snatch it up here in Vegas.
Wow.
And it got a lot of attention.
Wow.
But we're not in the business to give attention. We want to make sure it goes to the right home. But
for sure.
Yeah, we moved it back to Switzerland. I'm not sure where it went to now, but amazing piece, because you have to make a special movement to fit a guitar-shaped watch.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wow. So how do people find you? John Christopher.
John Christopher Calleri. I go by Chris.
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris. It's funny because I was told you were Chris, and then but your name is actually John Christopher.
Yeah.
So you go by Chris. Is there a story behind that?
My dad's John Nicholas, and it was just always and his grandfather was a John, so I'm like third in the succession.
Wow.
Sicilian family, so
Sicilian.
Yeah.
Huh? Wow.
Yeah.
Did he ever get teased with Saint Nick?
No, because he went by John.
Oh,
yeah,
so
he went by John.
So you dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
It's so funny when you have names that are just set up for a joke, right? Well, cool. So we'll put a link to your website below the podcast.
I appreciate that.
Pop you out on Instagram and stuff like that. I'm really excited about what you're doing, and what's next for you?
What's next for me is the holding company, because I want to start rolling up the jewelry business. Okay. I think there's really opportunity there, following Dan's model. like I said, I've already talked to a few people, very notable people in the jewelry industry for 30, 40 years. They're excited to work with me and possibly be on my board. Looking for a chairman and a CFO, and possibly legal to fill out the board with us. And then we are going to go look for commercial financing, and we're going to look at manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers that fit our model, that the numbers make sense.
Wow.
And we want to start rolling up the jewelry industry, even into the mining sector as well. Yeah. There's opportunity there.
Wow. No, that's exciting. I don't think you could have picked a better time to be doing that than right now. We have a fund called Dragons and Angels, and we're investing in different companies and actually building a community around that. Dragons and Angels. There's a little story behind Dragons and Angels. Do you know what a dragon is?
Yeah, the mythical creature?
No, like in business.
Oh, like the Shark Tank.
Well, well, maybe they named it that way, but
because they did Dragon's Den. They took that show from Dragon's Den. Yeah.
But a unicorn is like Uber or one of like companies that have gone public, and a unicorn is a certain size, right? That just blew off the charts. But a lot of those companies that are unicorns, the investors haven't made their money back, right? They've actually lost money because when they came into the valuation. A dragon is where you've made all your money back and a profit. So all the stuff we're looking at is how do we make money? How do we get all our money back? And that way we can, live on, ride on the cash flow after the fact. So, and then of course we're angels investing. So it's kind of like why we've called it Dragons and Angels.
That's awesome.
That's kind of the backstory behind how that even, and then it was available to buy. So it was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Maybe we'll reignite your passion for jewelry again.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you don't even have to reignite it. It's already ignited. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your story and being vulnerable about the fact that you actually picked up a business with no money down.
Yeah. And the universe is speaking to me, and we're just listening and leaning into it.
Yeah. And the good thing is the owner that sold you the business gets to earn out the money. Like he's the 1 in 5 success story.
Yeah.
The family is a 1 in 5, and one family took over another family business.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
It's going to continue.
Well, thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate
it.
Yeah, it's amazing.